Welcome everyone! I'm going to show you how your videos can go from this to this. Now first let me say, I am by no means an expert in any of this stuff. So I'm going to show you some really easy things that you can do that will make your instructional videos 10 times better. So I'm going to show you how to make videos like these if you're on a budget, if you're willing to spend at least a little bit, or if you're willing to go all the way and splurge. Let's get started. Okay, let's say you're on a budget. Let's say your budget is like 200 bucks or less. Let's say your budget is $0. How can you make videos like this? Well, one fairly easy thing you can do is invest in a decent webcam. So for example, the one that I'm going to show you in a second is this one here. It's the Logitech Brio 4K, and it's not the camera that I'm using right now. This is if you want to splurge, but the video and audio, they're not too bad. If you want to spend $0, just use what you already have. Use the computer that you're on, maybe right now. Instead of a webcam, just use your phone. A lot of phones right now, they are smart enough that they will instantly tether themselves to your computer. And I would just record your instructional content in a Zoom video. So there's 4 basic things that go into recording videos like this. You need a computer, of course. You need a camera. You need a microphone. And you need some sort of lighting source. It's more than just that, but let's say that those are the 4 basics. For a while, I was just using the camera on my laptop, and it wasn't particularly good. That's how this video started. Then I invested in a pretty decent webcam. So I used this one here, the Logitech Brio 4K. It's like a couple $100. You can get it online. But now you don't even have to do that. You can just tether your phone to your computer. And it's a lot of them are smart enough that it just shows up. Now you got to record the video on something, and I would recommend just doing it on Zoom. Just start a Zoom meeting and record it. And in terms of lighting, find a place where there's some natural light. You know, if there's a bright window behind you, that can cast some shadows. The lighting is shining on your face instead of on the back of your head. That tends to look better. But if you want to invest like 30, 40, 50 bucks, you can get a little light like this that attaches to the back of your computer, or you can get a stand for it. So this is the LumeCube, or the LumeCube, I don't know how to say it. And I used that for a while, and that was pretty darn good. You can also get one of those ring lights that have become quite popular. Those aren't very expensive. So if that's your setup and you're on a budget, then you can make videos like this. Let's say that you are willing to spend, something like $50 to $250. Well, then I would recommend investing in a decent webcam like the Logitech Brio that I mentioned, or just using your phone, so that'll save you a couple $100. You can stick with the computer that you have, most likely. Again, I would recommend recording your video on Zoom because we have access to upgrades that are free, and because they keep coming out with some pretty cool features. You can use Zoom. You can use a whiteboard on Zoom. You can annotate your screen. You can share your screen. You can do little mini quizzes and polls in the middle of your instructional videos. Now, in terms of sound for your microphone, if you use your phone or a webcam, that is the video and audio built into one. So the advantage of that is ease. The disadvantage is that the audio quality might not be as good as you want it to be. So if you're willing to spend a little bit more, I would recommend getting a separate microphone. For $40 to $60, you can get a pretty good USB microphone. So I have one here. This is the Maono USB mic. I used that one for a while. And that plugs right into your computer. I would get something like that, or I would get one of those lavalier mics that's like a little clip-on. Those are pretty inexpensive, and those you can also just plug right into your computer. So that will up your sound gain. That way the audio is much crisper and clearer. Your students will thank you. Then, if you want to spend a little bit on lighting, which goes a long way, instead of getting one of these little LumeCubes or using a ring light, I would use a Softbox light. So, I mean, I guess I could move this thing. It's right here. I have this giant light right here, and it looks big and professional and expensive, but luckily lighting it isn't that much. You know, you get $40, $60, something like that. And what it does is it gives you that natural light look, and this is called a softbox, and it diffuses the light so that it spreads it around evenly. Basically recreates the sort of lighting that you would get on a nice overcast day. So this is a Zoom recording. I'm using the Logitech camera that I mentioned, the Logitech Brio, and I turned off my higher end lighting rig, and I'm using the LumeCube as well as the natural light in this room. And what's great about the Zoom meetings, as you may or may not know, of course, you can share your screen. And you can annotate it. And all this can be in your videos. So you can draw, you can do text, you can erase what you need to. So if you've opened up a digital version of a textbook, you can underline things, you can circle things, you can star things, you can do a check. You can also use a whiteboard that can be collaborative. And so same thing, we can draw. And we can type text. And all of this is being recorded, and then you still have a little bit of the presenter, which is great. And then you can post these videos right into Canvas. And what's nice is Zoom automatically records them in the cloud with the right settings. And that way they don't take up a bunch of space on your local hard drive. If you want to save them for future semesters, you can download them and then keep them for as long as you'd like. And here's another recording where I'm using my phone instead of the Logitech webcam. And my phone, it's not a brand new phone, it's the iPhone from a couple years ago. I think it's the iPhone 12. So this is the mid-range setup. If you're willing to spend a couple $100, then you can get something like this that I think looks pretty good. So again, we have the Maono USB microphone, like $50. We're using a lighting rig that costs about the same. It's right here, this guy. And I'm just using my phone, you know, so if you have a phone that doesn't have to be brand new, if it's 2 or 2.5 years old, then it should have about this video quality. And that looks pretty good. So I think that this can be a good middle ground, a good option for a lot of your guys's videos. And again, we're recording in Zoom, and so we can use all of the wonderful functions, right? You can do, I don't know if you've discovered polls and quizzes, but they've been great for my classes. In one of my philosophy classes, we talk about free will, and so I'll poll the students and ask them, what's your intuition? Do you think that we have free will or not? And then share the results, and then we get to discuss them. So that's a great way to interact synchronously. And then you can do breakout rooms, you can do great reactions. And then like I did in the other video, you know, you can do a whiteboard. or you can draw. You can do some text. And then get rid of the ones that you need and start new ones. You can, of course, share your screen. And what I like about sharing the screen is that you also can annotate that. So you can say, oh yeah, we got to focus on this today, or especially this, or good job. You can erase some things and keep others and type in text. And then stop the share and then go back to the main screen. And so all of this is recorded in the cloud, and then you can download it if you want. And so now you have a lot of options that hopefully makes your online classes and your instructional digital content that much better.